Alright, boys. In today's video, we are going over the Grand Summoners database tier list. So, if you are a new player, do not look at this tier list. I promise you, it is not good. It is a bad tier list. And I'm not trying to throw shade at them or anything. They're reworking the whole thing. They're trying to put everybody in new spots and everything, but it's not a good tier list. There's a lot of things just in the wrong spot. So if you want to see a good tier list, I actually have one on my channel. It's the most recent one. I update it every crossover. So the most recent one, it's putting all of the free run units on a tier list, and that's going to include all of the ascended units in the game. I'm only doing the ascended ones. Awoken units aren't on the tier list. I'm not planning on doing them, but maybe if you guys leave enough comments that I should put Awoken units on it, I might put Awoken units on it. But right here on the screen, you can see my tier list. So this, all the comments on this video, most people are agreeing with the tier list. They just have a couple things they would change personally. But overall, I think the community would agree with this tier list that I have made. It is a pretty good tier list. Now we are going to get into the Grand Summoners database tier list. I have not met a single person that would agree with this tier list. So if we look over here, we have the tier list. And then over here, we have the top units in each category. So the defense category, for some reason, he's not here, but this is supposed to be Kirasame and then Shiro and then Gamagori, which I just don't agree with because, first of all, Shield Killer will ruin any taunt tank. So I don't think they are really as good as damage mitigation tanks like Shiro, Beta, and Albedo. So I think this should be Shiro, Beta, and then Albedo. And then for damage, I haven't seen enough from Stark to know how good he is, but I think it should be Uzu, then Sanosuke, then Delta. And then Stark might be fourth. And Archgen, this one is crazy. Hoka, yeah, he can be in first. But second as Juno, that's just silly. She's super old. She's just not that good. And then damage support, Shadow, I mean, yeah, he's really good, but he's not number one. And Hoka, he's up there. I don't think he's top 3. He might be, but I don't know. Healing, I don't even know who this unit is. I don't know why she's the second best healer in the game for some reason, according to their list. And then Break, Duke, he's a really good breaker. Platina, I haven't really tested her that much, so I don't know how good she is, so I'm not going to say anything about Platina. And then Tornado, she's an amazing breaker. So it doesn't really surprise me that these are all Awoken units. But the terrible part about this tier list is the actual entire tier list itself. So right here we have Chloe and Pensilgon in S tier. No, they just don't belong there. Actually, they just don't. Especially you got War God Fen down in A+. War God Fen is an SSS. He's the second best unit in the game. He just is. You can't. People might say, "Oh, you're glazing War God Fen. You're glazing." No. He's the second best unit in the game. He does everything. He has DR passively for I think it's 30 seconds of 40% DR for the whole team. It's crazy. Something like that. He's really good. He has crit buff. He has accuracy buff. He has equip CT. He has Archgen. He does a ton of damage by himself. He is one of the best units in the game. I put him second. I got Hoka and then War God Fen and then HK Roy and then a couple other units in the same tier, but those are my top 3. Why is Islid, OG Islid, up here with BF Emp, with Human Pinnacle Islid, with OG Islid? Why are they up here? Alpha, I could see the argument for her being A+, just because she was a little overshadowed by Hoka when she came out, but she's still really good. But Stark, he does a lot of damage, but still, he's not doing as much damage as Uzu. Ainz in A+ is actually insane. He's really just not that good. Even on MDD, he's only giving a 200% crit damage buff, and then he's given a little bit of Archgen. That's all Ainz does. He's not that good. He is not as good as War God Fen. He's not as good as Summer Luvia and Rin. He's not as good as Shuna. He's not as good as and most of these units, he's not as good as Islid, but most of these units there's other units below them that should definitely be above them. Down here, why is Summer Chloe in A? And then why is Thetis in A? What? Okay, Rosetta right here, she's actually really good. I wouldn't say she's A tier, but she's a good unit. We got Fern up here. Fern is doing a bunch of damage. I can understand this because this is like she's one of the best DPSs in the game, so she's an A tier DPS. SGL down in A tier is actually criminal because SGL has a 60% equip CT buff and a 150% light damage buff and a 300% magic damage buff, and she has her Ether recast, which is crazy. She's an SSS. She's one of the best units in the game, like hands down, literally hands down. She's one of the best units in the game. And then we got there was some silly ones that people were talking about in my Discord, like why is Valerie down here in A minus with I don't even know this dude's name from Tokyo Revengers. And then we got why is Shiki above Mako? I think her name is Shiki. Why is OG Fen in the same tier as Veldora? Like, I'm tweaking over here. Why is Sanosuke down in B plus when I'm pretty sure they have him ranked as he's the second best DPS and he's down in B plus. I'm pretty sure they put him there. But like, I don't understand the tier list. I don't understand it. Why is Sanosuke the probably second best DPS in the game down in the same tier as all of these Awoken units? I don't get it. And Heart being down in B plus, why is Mako in A minus? And like, it's just silly. It's silly things. The whole tier list is just silly. It's super, super silly. Saitama down in B. Like, DK Box down in B. Albedo down in B is actually criminal. I think Albedo is the third best tank in the game. Like, if you actually use Albedo, you have Albedo and you use Albedo, you know how good she is. She's crazy. Especially if you're using her on MDD. On MDD, she is by far better than any tank in the game. Like, even compared to Shiro. She's better than Shiro on MDD. Than Shiro is on, like, a mono-human team. She's, like, that good on MDD. She's insane. Niche or bad? Okay, let's see if they put any Awoken. Like, I can't remember her name, but this water unit from Kill la Kill, she's a great breaker. Why is she in C tier in niche or bad? Let's keep scrolling. I don't see any ascended units down this far, which is good. Est, like, you can throw her, I think it's a her, in D tier, but she's one of the best farming breakers just because she has 3 physical slots and the same passive that Duke has where 50% of the boss's break gauge is just gone immediately. One of the better nuking breakers in the game, but that doesn't look too bad. We got contributors over here, but don't flame them. It's not their fault. They just don't know. They don't know game. They don't know game. They don't have a GS addiction like I do. Okay. So, I said earlier, I'm not just going to complain about this tier list. This tier list is buns. I'm going to be honest. Not good at all. But I'm not just going to complain about the tier list. I'm going to show you a better tier list. And what I think they should do, they should rework the whole tier list again. And so earlier I showed my tier list. It's a good tier list. All the Ascended units in the game. This is the way the tier list should look. But I think the GS database should have a different version of a tier list because it doesn't really work. Like, putting the units up against each other like this, it doesn't work because the units do different things. So, I think they should make a tier list for types of units. So, right here we have a tank tier list where Shiro is number 1, Beta is number 2, and Albedo is number 3. Great. We have our top 3 units, and then our S tier units are going to be Kirasame, Gamagori, and Volti-LR. And then so on, you can see the rest of the tier list. These are some of the tanks in the games, and disclaimer, this might not be all the tanks in the games, and I'm going to keep going on with like DPSs, breakers, healers, damage buffers, nukers, archgeners / supports. It's not all of them in the game. It's just the ones, like, I just made all of these tier lists in like an hour, so I speed ran them. They might not be in the perfect positions, but this is like a concept of what I think the Grand Summoners database should be doing for their tier list. They should have all of the categories split up. So this is the tank tier list, and then next up we have the DPS tier list. So my top 3 DPSs: Uzu, Sanosuke, and Delta. And then number 4 can be Stark. And then we have Valerie, and then Fern, Saitama, Jay, and so on. You can see the rest of the units in the DPS tier list. Like, they're all good DPSs. I didn't bother to include every single unit in the game because most of them you're not going to use. Most of them aren't good at all. So you shouldn't include every single unit in the game. Like, let's an example that they would have down here somewhere. Like we got I don't even know. I think this dude's name is like Kane or something. Like, nobody is getting Kane, and then they're looking on the tier list. They're like, "Oh, where's my Kane? Where's my Kane? Oh, he's in D tier. Yeah, I'm not using him." No, they're just not going to use him. Okay, they're going to use their ascended units. Those are the good units. Make sense? Yeah. Okay, so these are the DPSs. This is where I would rank all these ascended units and all these awoken units in terms of DPS potential. And then next up, we have the breakers. So my top 3 breakers are going to be Terrible Tornado, Duke, and Pencilgon. And then the S tier breakers, Chloe, Platina, and then Tatsumaki, I think her name is. But again, with Platina, my Discord was hyping up Platina. They were saying she was crazy. I haven't used her, so I just put her there, just as a disclaimer. And this is not all of the breakers in the game. This is just a chunk of them. And this is where I think they would go, and this is how I think the GS database should be doing their tier list. Okay, so that's the breakers. Next up, we have the healers. These are the healers. I think the top 3 healers in the game are Summer Chloe, Shuna, and Rimuru, because they all have really good heals, and they all have status cleanse. So, amazing. You need that. And then we have Valentine's Day Liza, I'm pretty sure that's her name. She has like a 10% heal a second, which is insane. And then we have Aristella. So, like right here, she's not the greatest unit, but if you need a healer, she's an amazing healer. So, like on the tier list, she would be really, really far down because she's not that good. But on this tier list, she's pretty high up because she's an amazing healer. And then we have Valentine's Priscilla, who is an amazing healer with a status cleanse. We got Heart, more heals. Yeah, as you can see, just a bunch of heals. Awesome. And then the next tier list we have is the damage buffers. So the number 1 damage buffer, in my opinion, is Summer, Luvia, and Rin. She's just crazy, especially like if you put on Divine Arachnid's tears, you can get those buffs right away and do so much damage, and your nukes will hit so much harder. She's amazing. And then SGL, you got 150% light damage up, 300% magic damage up. I think it's like 60% magic res down on her art. Literally crazy. She's crazy. And then you got normal Rin and Luvia. They also have like base res down. They have magic damage up, magic res down. They have a 300% passive damage up based on how many enemies they burn with their art. So they're amazing. And then we have Shadow. Like literally, I could keep going. All of these units are good. They're just amazing. And this is how the tier list should be, because different units do different things. And there's categories of units, like damage buffers. These are the good damage buffers. Next up is going to be the nukers. So if you need a nuker, these are the good nukers. You see where I'm going? Like, you could look at the tier list, and you could be like, how good is my nuker? Oh, it's Hajime. I have the best nuker in the game. Awesome. Or, oh, I got Summer Miyu. Second best nuker in the game. By the way, I think she's the second best nuker in the game. Not because her super art does a ton of damage, but because she can spam her true art every single wave until you get to the boss, and then you can super art to do a ton of damage. And she's a good nuker. Stark, he can charge up the hardest hitting super art in the game. Great for nuking. Saiger Zero, super art has doubled multiplier just like Hajime the first time you use it. Great for nuking. HK Roy, once you use his Phantom Bullet, everybody on the team gets 200 arts immediately. Great for nuking. I could keep going. Like, it's just a better way to do a tier list for this type of game. Next up, we have our supporting type units. So, instead of doing an Archgen tier list where you literally just, like, put all the units that arch gen and then how much they arch gen. So like Hoka would be number 1 because he has 7 arts a second and 10 arts a second to somebody else. And like Summer Iris is super high because she has 10 arts a second. And Islet is super high because he has 10 arts a second. I factored in their buffs, their supporting capabilities. Like it shouldn't just be based off arch gen alone. It should be based off arch gen, buffs, debuffs, and like healing, like anything that pertains to support. So Hoka is number 1 because, he does have a ton of arch gen. He has a massive damage buff, and he is a pseudo healer. And then SGL is number 2 because she has a ton of damage buffs. She has pretty good arch gen. She has like 3 arts a second, but with her equip CT, literally for every support equip you have on the team, that's just plus 1 art a second from SGL. So she belongs there. You gotta trust me. And then we have HK Roy, who has 7 arts a second. He has physical damage up. He has physical res down. He has 200 arts up on his Phantom Bullet for the whole team. He's an amazing supporting unit. Yeah, he's just there. And then Beta is in the 4th place. She could be top 3, but she has arch gen. I think she has heals for mono water. She has a ton of damage up for mono water magic. She has damage up to the unit to the right of her. She has a tank. She's a solid supporting unit. And then we have Islid, who is similar to SGL in that he has equip CT. He has res down. He has a ton of arch gen. And then we have Wargod Fen, who's equip CT, accuracy. He doesn't have that much arch gen, but he provides so many other things, like a crit buff, that equip CT, accuracy. He has tactics. He's going to speed up the team a ton, and I mean a ton. If you have Wargod Fen, you know what I'm talking about. The start of your fight is just going to go so much faster if you have Wargod Fen on your team. And like we could just keep going. This is how these tier lists should be made. I'm going to continue to make mine the way I do because, mine's not buns like this GS database tier list. But if you want me to add Awoken units, just say so, and I can do that in my next video. I can make a whole video adding Awoken units to the tier list. Like, how good are all these Awoken units compared to the Ascended units? Something like that. But please, Grand Summoner's database. If any of the people who are making this are watching this video, like, I'm sorry for flaming the tier list, but it is buns. You should fix it. And I think they should take this into consideration, that they should split the tier list up into categories of units. But that's just my take on this tier list. It's not that good. If you need a tier list to follow, I think you should follow mine. It is the best tier list you will find, and I think a majority of people would agree with that. But yeah, that's it. See ya!